We feel it, you feel it. Women are craving happy, and a recent study dug into the reason why. According to the 2024 United States Happiness Report, 79% of Americans say there is an unhappiness crisis, and 81% say they deserve to be happier than they are. That one was interesting to me. With such a large majority feeling concerned about our country's happiness levels, we've recruited best-selling author, speaker, and business consultant McCullough, who believes women can harness happiness, and she'll help us do that today. Welcome to Studio 5, sister.
Thank you.
I would love, just from your expert point of view, kind of a reflection about those statistics. What did you gain from that?
So I see it as like a good news, bad news situation.
Okay.
If we go with the bad news first, I feel like we should worry about having a happiness crisis.
Sure.
And I also love that even if the word deserve is kind of tricky, that we have people who want to be happier than they currently are.
That word threw me. I guess threw me to a place of empathy in the sense that we deserve what we feel like we've earned. And so if people are really spinning their wheels and working hard toward this and coming up short, that's sort of sad.
It is a little bit. And what I think is interesting about that statistic, and also good for us to think about, is when we're talking about happiness to kids and even to each other, we talk about happiness at the end of something. Like you'll be happy when you go to your friend's house. You'll be happy when you go to school. You'll be happy when you can drive or date or graduate. And so we treat happiness as this thing that happens at the end, rather than talking about daily, regular, normal happiness that can help us feel joy, even if we have circumstances that aren't working. So we have to start thinking about happiness as the practice rather than the destination.
You are a business consultant who believes happiness is the ultimate success principle, even in the corporate world. I'm just curious how you see happiness change that type of a culture or that type of an outcome.
So this is one of the things that we really wanted to study with the research that we did. And one of the things that was interesting was we asked a bunch of different workplace situations and scenarios and asked people if greater happiness and resilience would improve those situations. Over 90% of working Americans said that it would improve in all of those situations. Things like being more productive, being more creative, being better team players, being able to be a leader. And so this is not one of those things where we can treat it like a soft skills anymore. If we have a workforce that is not happy or resilient, they're actually not performing. So we need to figure out how we can teach and train. And I think it's so important now, because in the age of artificial intelligence, where we're talking about all these things fake, we need to make emotional intelligence center stage, because that will help us self-regulate our emotions and also be able to discern truth.
Well said, but what an attention getter for corporate America and any leader or person in a leadership position, that it's not a fringe, it's not an extra, it's not a nicety. That needs to be a center stage pursuit. Critical. I imagine we're going to talk about positivity. As we shift into how to harness happiness, those words are often intertwined.
Yes. So the number one thing I recommend is to think positive, which sounds cliche, but the research actually backs this up. When people were talking about being more happy and more resilient, they say thinking positive actually helps them, which means that as individuals, we have to be better at changing the script, especially if there are tricky things that are happening in our mind. So one of the things that we teach is what we call the happiest principle, like the optimist, but then one level higher is the happiest.
Oh.
They don't just look on the bright side, they live there. But the IST helps you transition, so the I can identify the thought and help you know that that's not serving you, not helping you.
Yeah.
The S will give you an opportunity to strategize or figure out how to switch. And then the T will help you take action. So if you're feeling sad or worried, or even if you're feeling grief, you can identify, strategize, and then take action into feeling something different.
I love the idea of letting positivity, letting joy, letting happiness lead. I don't know if you saw Inside Out 2 this summer by Pixar. I had some beef with the movie. I didn't love all of it. But at the end, there's this scene where Joy, who's the main character, she's an emotion in this little teenager Riley's head. And there's this dramatic life situation happening, and joy is the emotion in her head. And there's other emotions like anger and envy and embarrassment. And they're all in a fight about who should be, who should lead out. And they all at one point turn to Joy and say, "You're in charge. What should we do?" I love the idea of letting happiness or joy or positivity lead our lives. And that's a choice.
Yes, 100%. And we have to prioritize it too, which means that for us in our own lives, we have to say, what makes us happy? We talk about self-care as like baths and walks and nature, but really this is like, what are the things that makes Brooke Brooke happy? What are the things that makes Michelle happy? And individuals, and we need to spend more time doing those things. And the research shows also spending more time with people.
I was going to say,
really
it's not
helps
always a
us.
selfish action.
No, it's not.
It's getting outside and probably serving or self-caring, helping someone else self-care, that when you'll find that intrinsic reward.
Correct. And you're making it a priority for both of you.
30 seconds left. Tell us how we can build our resilience reserve.
Okay, so this is important because over the last few years, we have really drained those resilience reserves. And so you bring them back in by watching overwhelm, by watching fear, by watching low confidence. And as you work on those individual things, you can build those resilience reserves for the tough times that may come ahead, and so that your resilience is there.
This was such a good pep talk and such interesting research that validates clearly something we're all after and wanting more of. Where can we get more from you, Michelle?
So if you want more of the research, you can go to speakmichelle.com/research, and you can find me there too.
We'll link you there from our website. Thank you so much.